G'day guys. In this video we're going to continue the working on the air conditioning and cooling system. First up, we're going to change the oil pressure sensor, which is located at the back of the engine. Very hard to film due to its position, so I'll try and get you in there to show you where it is, and I'll show you the type of tool to use to change it. So this is the pressure sensor, oil pressure sensor that is at the back of the engine. The car is actually throwing a code for the pressure sensor. It is a common failure item. You can use a socket to remove it, but the best method I found is gear wrench, and a number of other tool manufacturers make a sensor socket set. And from memory, this one right there, so 3/8, and it just allows the sensor to have space in above where you could use a long, I think it's 1 13/16 or something like that, socket, as long as it protects the back of the sensor because it is plastic. Right, where's it located? On the LS1, and I believe same for LS2 and further LS models. It's located at the back of the engine. Just see the top of the sensor there. If I move that, there it is, right there. So remove the plug. Be very careful with the plugs because they get brittle as they get old, and then it's just a simple matter of getting a socket in on top of it. Something else I just noticed whilst I'm doing my inspections here at the back of the engine, a little bit hard to see. Try and get you to a point where you can see it. The heater tap down there, you can see there's some coolant has actually leaked from around it. So be replacing one of them, or got all the cooling system apart as well. That'll set me back a little bit, but that's okay. So we'll move on to changing the TX valve, air conditioning TX valve. See how we go with this. TX valve has one 10mm bolt on a plate which pulls these two lines in, and then it has two star, there's actually some corrosion on there. Surprising corroded head. Two O-rings on the back. You probably can just see in there, and 2 on the front on the pipe side. Preferable to use correct oil for air conditioning compressors, but if you don't have any, light machine oil, the old handy light machine oil, just a tiny little bit on the O-rings. It's not actually getting into the system, it's just allowing the O-ring to not deform as you're placing it on. Prevents it from being pinched. So just a tiny bit of oil. Taking the old ones off the pipes. So what we did just there was these air conditioning lines aren't very well supported. They've got a factory mount down the bottom here, but they're not very well supported here. And as you can see, they've got a piece of anti-chafing material here. So all I've done is put a P-clip down here to help protect that rigid hose from rubbing. Next job is to replace these power steering flexible lines just here. They're a fairly common leaking area. This one was quite bad. I haven't inspected the hoses yet to see whether they've used the correct type, but it's really important when you're doing power steering or anything transmission line, it must be transmission specific hose. If you try and use fuel hose or whatever, the transmission oil will actually break it down and they'll end up leaking, which is probably what I suspect has happened here. Original pipes, I'd say, just expanded over time. Put some new worm drive clamps on them and new hose, and away we go. Sorry about that, missed a couple of steps. Battery went flat on me. All I've done is slip the radiator in. There's 2 rubber grommets at the bottom to make sure you get them lined up. There's 2 large rubber bumps here that sit in this spot, and then this clip just goes in and pushes in and clips. Same for this side. Bottom radiator hose connects to the thermostat. Top radiator hose yet to go on. New O-rings for the Aircon. Next one, which is harder to see, is down on the receiver dryer. Show you that. And they already pre-placed the receiver dryer. It's just a matter of undoing the cap on that side and screwing that on. I won't show you that. That's pretty much it for the radiator and condenser reassembling. A few things to be careful of. Make sure you don't pinch the O-rings in the air conditioning pipes when you tighten them up. A little bit of lubrication, a little bit of light machine oil. Be careful with your plugs, especially with vehicles getting on this old. Plugs are getting very brittle and easy to break. One little crack up in the top locking mechanism of the fan plug here. It's not going to affect its operation, but you do need to be a little bit more careful with them. Make sure you use the right coolant when you're going in, when you're replacing the coolant. This vehicle requires the red organic coolant. Previously it had the green in it, so I need to do a full flush of the engine prior to putting the new organic in. Mixing green and red is really bad. It actually turns to a gel, and it will actually line the inside of the radiator and prevent any water flow through the tubes of the radiator and lead to overheating. If that is the case, if it hasn't had the right coolant in it before, make sure you flush out the coolant bottle as well, so that you've got all the same coolant all the way through. What I'm doing here is removing the coolant overflow bottle so I can give it a proper flush out, because it has the wrong coolant type in it. 4 bolts, 2 10mm bolts here, another 10mm bolt in the wheel well, and then just a plastic clip. Another little job, the coolant level dipstick plastic has failed, so I'll have to fix that. A little bit of plastic welding probably. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm going to run a few cycles of clear water through the radiator, because I want to be sure that there's no green coolant left in the block. Run it up to temperature, check for any leaks, and then once she's cooled down, let it out and replenish with the correct orange or red organic coolant. Removing the MAF airflow sensor for cleaning. Remember, when you do clean them, only clean them with a mass airflow sensor cleaner. Any other type of cleaner will actually damage it. I'm going to give the airbox a bit of a clean as well. So make sure I'm getting this. So the honeycomb is actually really important to clean because it does disrupt the airflow. But the most important part is these little sensors just here. Don't touch them with your fingers. 1, 2, 3 sensors on either side. I think the video can pick them up. That's the main thing. Don't hit them with a brush or anything, purely just spray them with the mass airflow cleaner, and that just makes sure any build up on them is cleaned off. Okay, bloody hot this morning. Time to start her up and start purging the system and looking for leaks. That concludes the cooling system and air conditioning overhaul. Runner up to temperature. Fans have cycled on and off several times. Letting her cool down now. Leaking, no leaks anywhere. And as I said, there was some green coolant still left in the block. So I'm going to drop the water out of that once it's cool and then refill with organic coolant. Make sure you don't ever mix those two. Try and get if you are ever changing it over, make sure you get as much out by flushing even a couple of times if possible, because as I said earlier, it does coagulate inside the cores of the radiator, which then of course stops any water flow through those cores. They're very, very fine cores, and you get overheating problems. It's a fairly common problem when people change over coolants and don't realise that green and red aren't compatible. Hope you enjoyed that. It's been a hard slog at the moment up here in the territory. We're having 42-degree days. It's currently about 9:45 in the morning on a Saturday morning, and it's already about 33 degrees, heading for 42 again today, and the humidity is absolutely monstrous. I'm sweating like nothing else, as you can probably see. So that sort of limits the amount of time I can work out here in the front of the garage. No point putting it in the garage because this garage faces west, and as soon as I get to midday I have no shade whatsoever and it is hot as hell. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. Make sure you like, share and subscribe, and if you know of anyone else that would get something out of this, please forward it on to them and share it around. Subscriber count's coming up, which is really great. Thank you for your support. I think last count I'm up to 91 subscribers, so starting to climb, which is great. Still want to get to 1,000 So if you can, please help me by subscribing. Anyway, that's it for now. I better get editing. Thanks.